So thank you, Mr. Speaker. The member spent a great deal of his time talking about unemployment. And, I don't think there's anyone inside the House, definitely within the Liberal caucus, that was not sympathetic to the issue of an individual that doesn't have a job that's looking for employment. Yeah. And we will continue to work hard as a government to provide opportunity, to provide hope. But I would remind the member opposite, that the Liberal administrations in the last 10 years has created literally hundreds of thousands of more jobs than Stephen Harper created in that same 10-year period of time. So I think the members should make note of that. But my question is with respect to the legislation itself. The Conservative Party voted against legislation to give a tax break before, but this is an election-mandated tax break that we have said. Is the member sympathetic to agreeing to see this legislation pass before we rise at the end of June so that Canadians will benefit by this tax break, which was assured to Canadians during the last federal election? Does he support it?
The honourable member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Madam Speaker, what worried me most about that question is to hear the member say the Liberal government will continue to. I think what Canadians want to hear is the Liberal government will stop doing, right? Canadians want to hear that the government will stop doing what they have been doing because it's not working, and they will rather do something different. And frankly, during the election, the Liberals wanted to give that impression, right? During the election, Liberals wanted to give the impression that they wouldn't continue to, that they would stop doing. And yet we do see a lot more continuing to than stopping, and the trajectory continues. The member's account of the numbers is simply wrong. He should read the Stats Can report. 7% unemployment, 1 in 5 students can't find a job. That's a terrible record. It's time to change course.
For Waterloo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think it was less than 6 weeks ago that Canadians went to the polls and they elected every member of Parliament in this place. And it was a very interesting election, and we saw, at least in the Waterloo region, record numbers of Canadians being engaged. And I listened to what they had to say at the doors, and it was not a monolith. There was a diversity of views, diversity of perspectives, but there was definitely a sentiment that government has a role to play. This member was quite telling today. It's the first time where a Conservative has been so honest to say, and I quote basically, or paraphrase, the government has to stop doing. One thing Canadians in my community knew is that a Conservative, and let it not happen anytime soon, government would not invest in Canadians, would not be there for Canadians, because Conservatives do not believe that government has a role to play. So I would ask this member, he has a history of voting against benefits and programs such as the Canada Child Benefit, such as national child care, such as dental care, voting against constituents, against Canadians. Is he recognizing that there are important measures in this legislation that Canadians have supported and they expect to see advanced? Could he see himself advancing measures that benefit Canadians within this legislation?
The honourable member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Madam Speaker, what I said was that this Liberal government needs to stop doing the things that they are doing and take a very different approach. In response to what the member said, I want to draw her attention, and maybe she hasn't seen it yet. She talked about what people in her region, Kitchener-Waterloo, are saying and thinking. Her region has unemployment that's substantially above the national average. The national average, 7% unemployment, which is quite significant. But in her region, according to today's release from Stats Can, is 8.5. So rather than ask such a partisan question, I think the member for that region maybe should have stood up and asked what we can do about 8.5% unemployment in her region. Why doesn't she stand up for her region instead of constantly defending the government? She wants to know what we should do. What we recommend they do is cut taxes, stop getting in the way of development, remove the gatekeepers so that individuals and businesses can invest and grow, and fix the mess that they've created in the immigration system. If they do the things that we have recommended all along, we will be able to address that very high 8.5% unemployment in her region.